Okay, 8 on the homework is pretty easy, so I'm not going to go over that. Number 9, the only thing I'm going to tell you about number 9 is one of those fraction rules that we wrote down. At the bottom of the fraction rules, we said that you separate the quotient into 2 terms by splitting a fraction into 2. So on number 9, what's going to get you through is you're going to take this one fraction and you're going to split it into 1 over cosine theta plus sine, because there's a plus sign, sine over cosine theta. Yeah. So that's all I'm going to tell you about number 9. Other than that, you should be able to wiggle through it. Okay, let's look at number 10. On number 10, I'm not going to tell you much, just a little bit. But on number 10, we're going to do that thing where we change it into sines and cosines. So I see a cosecant on the bottom, and I see a secant on the bottom. Let's see if I have an identity where cosecant is on the bottom. Oh, here's a cosecant on the bottom. What I can do with that cosecant is I can just pull it up and multiply with that sine. And crap. Here it is. Yeah. Did you know that if you have like 2 sine theta, you can take that sine and do its reciprocal, put it on the bottom. Or if you have 2 over cosecant, that cosecant can come up as the reciprocal and be sine. Or let's say you have heart over cotangent. You can take that cotangent and pull it up as its reciprocal. And remember, cotangent's reciprocal is tangent. So you'd have heart times tangent. Look over here, heart times tangent. So same thing here. I have this cosecant, but I can pull it up as its reciprocal and multiply it. So its reciprocal is sine. And I can take this secant and pull it up as its reciprocal and multiply it. The reciprocal of secant is cosine. Or if you forgot, here are our reciprocals. When there's secant on the bottom, 1 over secant is equal to cosine. Or you can take that secant and pull it up to the top. Okay, so that's all I'm going to tell you about number 10. After you do that, oh, and when you pull it up, there's no more cosecant. So you have sine theta times sine theta plus cosine theta times cosine theta. And that's all I'm going to tell you about that one. Let's look at number 11. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of easy work. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is express in terms of sines and cosines. So we kind of just did this. Secant is equal to 1 over cosine theta. It's a reciprocal identity right here. Secant is equal to 1 over cosine. So we're going to replace secant with 1 over cosine. Minus tangent, let's look for an identity that says tangent equals something with sines and cosines. Tangent equals something with sines and cosines? No. Tangent equals something with sines and cosines? Yes. So we're going to say tan equals, we're going to take this tan and we're going to replace it with what it's equal to. Sine theta over cosine theta. And remember, this is squared. And remember, we are working on the left side. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to actually square it. But let's clean it up a little bit. Let's see. The denominators are the same. So since the denominators are the same, I can just subtract them. 1 minus sine theta. Keep the denominator. Cosine theta. It's squared. Now let's square it. This is 1 minus sine theta over cosine theta times 1 minus sine theta over cosine theta. Okay, now we have to multiply it. These bottoms multiply to cosine squared theta. The top multiplies to FOIL it. Let's see. 1 times 1, 1. Outside, 1 times negative sine, negative 1 sine theta. Inside, negative sine times 1, negative 1 sine theta. Last, negative sine times negative sine, plus sine squared theta. Okay, let's clean up the top. 1 minus, these suckers make a 2 sine theta plus sine squared theta all over cosine squared theta. Yeah. Okay. When you go to do my math lab, this is where you're typing in stuff and then choosing the answer choice that describes it. The first thing you're going to type in is this sucker. And what the heck did we do that? Why the heck did we do? Oh, I don't know. We did something about sines and cosines, right? Okay. Then all of this hooey, you don't type in the computer. We could have done all that in our head. The next thing you type in your computer is this. Kind of weird. And what the heck was all that? Basically, we just combined things. We squared things. So that's what you're going to pick as your answer choice. Okay, now let's keep going. We're trying to make this small, 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 small. Well, I see a bunch of sines and cosines. That's exciting. I see a sine squared and a 1. But just trust me, that's not going to lead us to where we want to go. If we do that, we're going to have to take like 20 more steps. Okay. For some reason, the homework wanted us to FOIL the top. But if we did not FOIL the top, we would have gotten there quicker. So just trust me. Let's pretend we never FOILed the top. And it's just 1 minus sine theta, 1 minus sine theta. Okay, let's just pretend. And it's still over cosine squared theta. How could we somehow make this smaller? Well, alert, alert, alert. I see cosine squared theta. And I know it's a Pythagorean identity. It's like, what is it? It's like sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1. And if I want to find just what cosine squared is equal to, then I subtract over the sine squared. And we get cosine squared equals 1 minus sine squared. Hey, if I have this, then somehow it might cancel with what's up here on the top. So let's do that. I'm going to keep the top unfoiled, even though the homework made you. Don't get me started. All over. Let's change this bottom to what I said, 1 minus sine squared theta. Okay. Exciting. Now, it just can't cancel like it is. It has to be like a chunk of parentheses on the top and a chunk of parentheses on the bottom in order to cancel. So what we can do is we can factor the bottom. And if I factor that bottom, it's a difference of 2 squares. Let me keep the top the same. And let me change the bottom to a difference of 2 squares. 1 plus sine theta. I think we did this before. 1 minus sine theta. Okay, and this is what the homework wants you to type in. For those unlucky souls who aren't watching these videos, good luck, brother. Okay, so the homework wants you to type in this, and we just factored because it was a difference of squares. So choose the difference of squares. And also, before we did the difference of squares, we did the Pythagorean identity. Okay, now let's cancel the 1 minus signs cancel. And all you have left is 1 minus sign over 1 plus sign. And holy poop, that's the last thing they want you to type in. And remember, when you cancel, it's called divide out the common factor. Yeah. Woo. And remember, the whole thing is we're supposed to simplify it, make it as small as possible. Well, we cannot cancel those ones, and we cannot cancel those signs because there's a plus and a minus, so it doesn't work that way. So that one's over.